In September of 2020, the City and Borough of Juneau Assembly appropriated Federal CARES Act funding to assist 135 Juneau artists. In the spirit of the Works Projects Administration of the 1930s era, the Juneau ArtWorks program reflects the zeitgeist of the public health emergency and will remind us of how our community responded to the COVID-19 pandemic.
My name is Marissa Truitt. I was born and raised in Juneau, Alaska. I'm a dancer and choreographer currently based in Brooklyn, New York. The title of my piece is Juneau, and it is a dance film. Juneau is the name of my great-grandmother who was murdered, and she's also an indigenous woman. When I first thought of the concept, I was at work and it was the first snow of the winter, and I got this image of a girl wearing white in a mirror, and then it had me thinking of my great-grandmother and her story, and it felt very related. And so this piece is an homage to her and her story, and unfortunately many other Native women's stories. You first see Sydney, my sister was the dancer in it. She's carrying this mirror, which feels like she's carrying the weight of this trauma, this ancestral trauma that gets passed down, and she's looking at herself and the trauma that has happened that's affected her, but it's also represents multiple women that have experienced that. I really wanted to film during, the wintertime. I wanted snow in the background and the dancers wearing all white very purposefully to show the contrast of the red paint that was used. Obviously it's filmed outside and you have the gorgeous landscape of Juneau and all of its amazing colors, and then this sort of really striking red color to contrast all of that. Obviously the red hand on the mouth signifies missing and murdered indigenous women, and that use of red was a huge part of Juneau. I think there's something really powerful in reflection, and there's a moment where we have two mirrors and you can see, it's so brief, it was a really hard shot to get, but you can see multiple dancers in it, even though it's just Sydney. And I think the use of the mirror really signifies how many indigenous women have been murdered, and then it also points a mirror to the viewer, like, what are you doing with this information? When you look at yourself, what are you thinking? What are you reflecting on? I really let Sydney have sort of her own performative control. She had a lot of agency because it's also her great-grandmother as well, and she's also very connected to this story and this trauma that we've gained. I see a lot of reflection in her eyes, and there's a heaviness to her gaze. And I think she's seeing herself, but also seeing the hurt around her and recognizing it. It's a really vulnerable thing to do, to dance in general, but to also share and express something that's so personal. Over time, we wanted the momentum and the speed in which she was moving to get quicker, to create more energy. We wanted to portray some sort of violence, but also it's like she's exposing what has been done to her. It's scary, but in the same way, it also feels empowering, like she's taking in control of what's happened to her. The sound was one of the most difficult parts. We wanted a sense of wailing or calling out, but we didn't necessarily want something so on the nose of like a woman crying or a woman calling for help. And so we were really struggling with, well, what are we going to do to achieve that? And a friend of mine, he's also a sound designer, he was like, I have these whale sounds. If you want them. And we were like, yes, please, absolutely. It feels so in touch with the land and the ecosystem of Juneau. And as soon as we got the whale sounds, we're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is what we've been looking for. It has that sense of yearning and calling for help, but it's also ambiguous enough to where you don't necessarily know what's making that sound, but it's also distinguishable enough that it doesn't feel abstract. COVID really gave everybody the space to reflect on a lot of things, a lot of solitude, and for me it was a lot of reflection on the past and mental health. I think we were all sort of forced to like really face what was going on in our minds. Missing and murdered Indigenous women and violence towards Native women is something that I'm really just passionate about bringing more awareness to and finding a way to make it stop. And if I can do it through how I know how to work, and that's through art making, I'm gonna do that to the best of my ability.